So imagine it's the year 2040. You just got off work from one of many skylines of the metropolitan you live in and called in your self-driving car from your iPhone 32 to go home. But on the way, what you find is that your friend just posted about his vacation in space. You always wanted to go there but didn't find the time to. It must be very exciting to tour space, right? Or does the future not hold such promises? And is space tourism dumb?
Hey guys, this is AY. Space tourism is a brand new flashing term which is kind of self-explanatory. It is tourism in space. Kind of in the name actually. But let's go into details. It is leaving the Earth's surface and going up, not for scientific purposes but for leisure.
Think of it like a holiday trip. Instead of plane tickets and hotels in Dubai, you pay for a space flight, a very expensive one at it too, which will launch you into space for you to experience, space. You will actually feel how astronauts feel when they escape Earth's gravity and feel the weightlessness. And most importantly, look at your home planet from a place only a few people ever born have ever seen.
In fact, out of estimated 100 billion people to have ever lived on Earth, you would be approximately one of the 0.0000001% to have ever seen Earth from space.
But how will it actually work? For an example of this, I want to introduce you to the best film humanity has ever made.
Drum roll, please. Can anybody guess?
No, not that one. It's 2001, A Space Odyssey. That's the name of the movie, not the year it came out, which actually came out in 1968. And this movie is about a lot.
The film follows a voyage to Jupiter with the sentient computer HAL after the discovery of an alien monolith. The film is noted for its scientific accurate depiction of spaceflight, pioneering special effects and ambiguous imagery. I'm reading all of this off of Wikipedia because I can really explain this movie in one line, but I can show you this.
The movie discovers a modern human civilization capable of living in colonies on the moon and travel to other planets. But the movie shows what space tourism might look like with scientific accuracies.
And fun fact, this movie came out 1 year before Neil Armstrong placed his foot on the moon. That's how ahead of its time it was.
Will space tourism actually be like this? As you can see, the movie takes a lot of ideas from a common air flight. Compare this to the space flight in 2021, a few months ago with Jeff Bezos. And you can see we are still far away from the utopia of the movie.
The thing about space travel is space is very hard. It is very difficult to develop things for space as living conditions there are non-existent. And any test run to be done is very expensive and risky. Currently, companies like Blue Origin, owned by Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk's SpaceX, and Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic have shown real-life examples of commercial spaceflight, each achieving different heights.
But where do we even say space starts from? Well, the so-called Kármán line is what is defined as the start of space at an altitude of 100 km. For context, the International Space Station orbits at around the altitude of 400 km. Richard Branson's space flight did not even touch the boundary of space at an altitude of 86 kilometers, even though his flight tickets cost $450,000 or 3.5 crore rupees. The Blue Origin flight, although touched space at around 100 kilometer altitude. This is what the Amazon CEO Jeffrey Bezos went to space in to basically promote his space tourism plans to his billionaire friends. And finally, SpaceX, whose first commercial flight took the passengers to an altitude of 585 kilometers. But yada yada, in simple terms, billionaires are paying in millions to their other billionaire friends to try the hottest new trend. Even NASA is now allowing people to stay in the International Space Station which would cost in tens of millions of dollars.
In retrospect, what is happening is these companies are trying to create a new industry to generate revenue for future space flights.
So, what is this new space industry and what will it consist of? Well, for starters, a hotel. This is something planned by these companies to boost public interest. Show something cool, I guess. Okay, what else? Space billboards. Yeah, so in future when you look up at the night sky to look at stars and constellations, you will see a giant Pepsi ad. Cool.
But can we all trust this? Should you trust a billionaire who doesn't even pay proper wages to his employees or gives good working conditions, but instead says this after his space trip?
I want to thank every Amazon employee and every Amazon customer, because you guys paid for all of this.
But this isn't even the real issue. If you want to compare apples to apples, we should compare this to the airline industry.
When the airline industry started, to passengers, it was still a novelty, only suited to the wealthy people, similar to what space tourism is now, with ticket prices 30 to 40 times more than what they are today. But one thing was different for airline industry. It was war. The demand for airline industry extensively increased due to its usefulness in the world wars. But also mail carrying was one of the integral reasons for its success. Slowly, as ticket prices got cheaper due to high demand, flights started becoming a commodity than a novelty for everyone.
An amazing video on this topic by Wendover Productions is linked down in the description if you want a much more detailed analysis. But we don't or can't have a new world war hoping for this boom in the space tourism industry.
Hence, these companies will have trouble making money when operating costs will be much higher than the demand that is of a few tourists in a year.
We're essentially putting chemicals directly into the upper atmosphere. We've added chemicals to the upper atmosphere from the industrial processes that take place on Earth, but the chemicals kind of have to work a little bit harder to get there. In this instance, we're just injecting them directly into those layers.
There are also climate factors that can be a huge issue moving forward. Rocket launches are dangerous when it comes to pollution and climate change, as there's no clean way to launch a rocket.
About 95% mass of most rockets is just fuel, which accounts to thousands of tons of CO2 emission every launch. Up until now, a few rockets a year don't really cause much harm compared to other factors like cars and planes. But once this industry boosts, we'll be adding immense fuel to the fire that is global warming and climate change.
So using these resources to launch a few people to space rather than for development and research seems a bit wasteful.
Sure, development towards a more accessible space is a brilliant idea, which when the right time comes will be possible. But is giving the steering for the human race development in space to billionaires the best idea? We already have that model here on Earth, with all the tech companies to many multinational corporations, and we regularly see the news of workplace exploitation from every sector. Space is a destination for the unknown. To think we are such a small part of the entire cosmos is scary yet comforting. Comforting in the sense that even though human life is small compared to a black hole, we are the only beings capable to discover and study them, and many other things in the universe. We deserve to preserve humanity and become an intergalactic species, because we are the only ones we know who can understand the universe and find about its existence.
But in the end, space tourism industry is so new that we can't really predict its impact. It might be the next big thing, creating possibilities for many other small companies to dip their toes in. Or it might end the only thing that, regardless of financial status, kept us all equal and grounded. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you liked it, press the like button. If you didn't, the dislike button doesn't work anymore. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. And I'll see you in the next video.